Have you ever sat in a conversation and just felt something was off? They're smiling, their words sound perfect. Everything seems normal, but deep down, your chest tightens. Something in your gut whispers, don't believe them, but you silence it. You think, maybe it's just me? I'm overthinking. Hours later, you're replaying every moment in your head, asking yourself over and over, why would they lie to me? Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Let's be brutally honest. Today, lying isn't shocking anymore. It's polished. It's subtle. And worst of all, it's strategic. People don't just lie with their words. They lie with fake vulnerability, perfectly timed apologies. Manipulative questions that make you doubt your own sanity. This video isn't here to entertain you. It's here to expose. If anyone has ever made you feel like you were crazy for sensing that something wasn't right, this one is for you, because the people you need to fear the most aren't the ones who lie loudly, it's the ones who lie through questions. Today we uncover 7 questions liars ask, questions designed to gaslight you, manipulate you, and destroy your peace, but more importantly, we'll view all of this through the lens of Islam, so you can protect yourself spiritually and emotionally. Question 1. Why don't you trust me? You've heard it before. The question lands like a punch to your gut. Why don't you trust me? They don't scream it. They don't beg. They say it calmly, with a soft voice, a slight head tilt, as if you're the problem for even questioning them. Suddenly, you find yourself defending your own doubts, explaining your feelings, justifying your concerns, and in that very moment, they flip the script. This is the liar's first weapon. Emotional manipulation disguised as vulnerability. Let's be real. How many times has someone made you feel guilty just for trusting your gut? Not because you had solid proof, but because something in your fitra whispered, this isn't right. But instead of addressing your concerns, they deflect. Why don't you trust me? They're not trying to repair what they broke. They want you to feel like you are the one who's broken. Here's the hard truth. The Prophet Muhammad warned us clearly. A sign of hypocrisy is when someone lies. He said, there are 3 signs of a hypocrite. When he speaks, he lies. When he promises, he breaks it. And when he is entrusted, he betrays. Hadith, Bukhari, and Muslim. These are not just bad habits. They're red flags straight from the Sunnah. So if someone constantly lies and then turns around asking, why don't you trust me? You already have your answer. In Islam, trust is not forced. It is earned. The moment someone demands your trust without any accountability, that's your cue to step back, not to lean in. Ask yourself, if someone truly cared about your heart, would they manipulate your mind? Would they ignore your fears just to protect their image? The person you can trust doesn't make you feel crazy for having concerns. Makes space for your discomfort. Shows you with actions, not empty words, that you are safe but a liar. They'll make your doubts feel like sins, just to cover their own doubts. So the next time someone calmly asks, why don't you trust me? Ask back, what have you done to earn my trust? Question 2. Are you even a good Muslim? Here's the thing. When someone asks you this, it's rarely out of genuine care for your deen. It's not advice. It's not nasiha. It's a weapon, because deep down, they know you already struggle with guilt. Maybe you slip. Maybe you're still trying to fix your salah. Maybe you're still healing, and they take that pain and twist it against you. Are you even a good Muslim? It sounds like a question, but it's really an accusation, and sadly, it works. You hesitate. You second-guess yourself. You begin doubting your own worth. You forget that the one asking this just crossed a serious boundary. Let's be real. We live in a time where many Muslims are silently struggling. People sin, repent, fall again, and still hold on to Allah. They're already battling their nafs, shaitan, and society. Now someone who claims to care uses their weaknesses against them. That's not love. That's control. That's not guidance. That's manipulation. Because here's the truth. No one has the right to weaponize Islam against you, just to silence your concerns. You don't need to be sinless to question dishonesty. You don't need to be a scholar to set boundaries. Allah is not just the Lord of the sinless. He is the Lord of the one who falls. weeps, and still crawls back to him. Asterisk, the Prophet Muhammad taught us something deeply profound. Every son of Adam sins. But the best of those who sin are the ones who repent. Hadith Tirmidhi. So don't let anyone trap you in shame. They act like you have no right to speak truth unless you're flawless, but Islam never demanded perfection. It demands sincerity. If someone truly cared about your deen, they wouldn't guilt-trip you. They would say, let's fix this together, not, who are you to talk? So the next time someone throws at you, are you even a good Muslim? Remember, that's not a question. That's a red flag. You don't need to defend your iman to a liar. You need to protect your iman from them. Question 3. Would I lie to you? At first glance, it sounds like a question. But look closely. It's not meant to be answered. It's meant to shut you down. You begin noticing small contradictions, broken promises, half-truths wrapped in charm. Right when you're connecting the dots, they hit you with, would I lie to you? Translation. Don't think, don't dig. Just feel guilty for even doubting me. Have you ever felt bad for trusting your gut? For being too suspicious? For being too negative? That's exactly what this tactic is designed to do. It flips the script. Instead of focusing on their dishonesty, you start questioning your own clarity. You shrink. You apologize. You feel guilty for seeing the truth, but pause for a moment. If someone is truly honest, why would they need to defend themselves theatrically? Let's be blunt. People who don't lie don't need to say this. Their actions speak, patterns align, words match behavior, but liars, they act that they perform hurt. They act shocked, insulted that you'd even dare question them, because when they can't hide the facts, they hide behind your feelings. Here's the Islamic angle most people overlook. Even before his prophethood, the Prophet Muhammad was known as Al-Amin, the trustworthy. He didn't need to plead his honesty. His life was proof. So much so that even his enemies called him Al-Amin. Truth doesn't need a performance. It proves itself. So when someone throws this line at you, it's not about truth. It's about control. They're not proving anything. They're pressuring you into silence. In that moment, you don't need to argue. Just remember, truth doesn't fear being questioned. Only lies do. Question 4. You're the only one who misunderstands me. At first, it sounds like a cry for connection. But don't be fooled. This is a trap, wrapped in guilt. Let's say you catch them lying. You confront them gently. You try to address contradictions calmly. And instead of taking accountability, they softly say, you're the only one who misunderstands me. Read that again. That line is not about clarifying things. It's about isolating you. The message they're planting is, everyone else gets me. You're the problem. Suddenly you question your own reality. Maybe I overreacted. Maybe I misunderstood. Maybe it's my fault again. Pause right here. This is emotional. Chokehold manipulation. It works because it taps into your deepest fear. What if I'm the only one seeing this? And in today's digital highlight reel culture, nobody wants to feel like the dramatic one. So instead of holding your ground, you shrink. But here's the reality. When someone is sincere, they don't throw your confusion back at you. They clarify, listen, create safety for your concerns. Let's be honest. Many of us have grown up learning to avoid conflict at all costs, especially in Muslim households, where confronting someone can easily be labeled as disrespectful, arrogant, disobedient, especially if you're younger female or simply trying to keep peace. But look at the Prophet Muhammad. Even when others misunderstood him, he never made them feel small for asking tough questions. He didn't dismiss them with, you're the only one who thinks this. Instead, he engaged with patience, openness, compassion. So if someone makes you feel like you're crazy for sensing something isn't right, recognize what's really happening. It's not your perception that's broken. It's their accountability that's missing. When they say you're the crazy one every single time, it's not you, it's them. Weaponizing your confusion to cover up their own behavior. Because real truth doesn't need emotional gymnastics. Being the only one who sees something wrong doesn't make you delusional. It might just make you the only one who's awake. Question 5. You think you're better than me. This one stings, not because it's true, But because it's designed to shame you back into silence, maybe you said something simple. I've been trying to pray more. I don't feel comfortable with backbiting. I'm stepping away from certain environments. And suddenly, boom. Oh, so now you think you're better than me? This sentence isn't a question. It's an accusation, wrapped in sarcasm, soaked in guilt. In today's world where everything is joked off, people use this phrase to make you feel like the problem. Just for trying to grow, you're not allowed to. Want better, walk away from toxic environments, set boundaries for your dean, your peace, or your healing, because apparently if you do, you've suddenly become arrogant. But stop right here. There's a massive difference between thinking you're better than someone and trying to be better than who you used to be. This isn't about pride. This is about progress. The second you start moving toward Allah, Shaitan starts whispering through people's tongues, trying to pull you back using shame. Even the companions of the Prophet Muhammad had passed. Some of them came from darkness before Islam entered their hearts, but the Prophet never said, "Wow, so now you think you're holy?" No, he lifted them up. He made space for transformation. He never used their past against them. So why should you allow anyone to use yours? When someone says, "You think you're better than me," what they're really saying is, "Your growth makes me uncomfortable with my own stagnancy." It's not about your tone. It's not about how you said it. It's about them watching you rise and realizing they stayed in the same place. But don't let that guilt stop you. You don't need to prove your sincerity. Allah sees your heart. If someone is sincere, they will cheer for your growth. They won't mock it. They'll see your progress as a reminder that they can grow too. So next time someone throws that line at you, don't absorb it. Don't fight it. Just gently say, "No, I'm just trying to be better than I was yesterday, and I pray the same for you." Allah is closer to that kind of response than all the noise they threw at you. Question 6. If you really loved me, you'd. This one is dangerous because it sounds emotional, vulnerable, honest, but underneath those soft words is manipulation wearing perfume. If you really loved me, you'd keep this between us. If you really loved me, you'd meet me. Just once. If you really loved me, you'd prove it. Pause. How many people confuse guilt with love? Especially in today's world where relationships are rushed. Attachments are confused with real connection. Boundaries are called walls. This statement isn't about love. It's about control. They're not building love. They're testing how much of yourself you're willing to compromise and still call it care. But here's the truth. Love that requires disobedience to Allah isn't love. It's a dangerous test. The Prophet Muhammad made it clear. There is no obedience to the creation in disobedience to the Creator. Hadith, if someone ever puts themselves in a position where they expect you to break Allah's commands to please them, what they want isn't love. It's control, ego, selfishness, and sadly, many fall for it, especially when they're emotionally vulnerable. When they finally felt seen, when they're tired of being alone, when they just want someone to stay. But remember this, anyone who truly loves you would fear leading you away from Allah. They would protect your akira, not pressure you into sin, not guilt trip you into mistakes. Love in Islam comes with adab, respect, haya, modesty, taqwa, God consciousness. True love leads you closer to Allah, doesn't demand you sin to prove loyalty, is patient, honorable, and dignified. So if someone says, "If you really loved me, you'd," pause and ask, why is the cost of this love my dignity, my boundaries, and my faith? Because that's not love. That's emotional blackmail. Question 7. Don't bring Allah into this. It's personal. This one cuts deep, because now it's no longer about lies. It's about someone trying to separate your faith from your life. You express your concerns. You say, "I don't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel halal. I want to keep things within Islamic boundaries." And they respond, "Don't bring Allah into this. This is between us. Why do you always have to make everything about Islam?" Stop. That moment right there isn't just a red flag. It's a wall of fire. Because when someone asks you to leave Allah out of your relationship decision values, what exactly are they inviting in? This is no longer just personal. Every choice you make ties to your akira, Anyone who makes you feel too Islamic for keeping Allah involved is showing you clearly they don't want truth. They want convenience. And the moment you challenge that, they label you judgmental, difficult, dramatic. But remember, whoever seeks the pleasure of people by displeasing Allah will be left by Allah and the people. Asterisk the Prophet Muhammad warned, whoever seeks the pleasure of people by displeasing Allah, Allah will become displeased with him and will cause the people to become displeased with him too. Hadith Tirmidhi. So when someone gets uncomfortable the moment you bring Allah into your decisions, it's not because you're being rigid. It's because your remembrance of Allah is exposing the discomfort in their intentions. And here's something even scarier. Some people are perfectly comfortable lying to you, but the moment you remind them they're accountable to Allah, they can't handle it. So they do everything to remove him from the conversation. They'll say, don't make it a big deal. Let's just handle it our way. But your heart knows. Your gut knows. And most importantly, your iman knows, because in Islam, there's no such thing as a personal decision that excludes Allah. Even the most private choices are part of your test journey submission. So if someone's love, friendship, relationship business only works when Allah is left out. It's not love. It's not friendship. It's not peace. It's a trap dressed like peace. Let's be very clear. This video isn't here to make you paranoid. It's not telling you to become suspicious of everyone. We know what it's like to watch videos like this and start overanalyzing everything. That's not the point. This video is here to remind you of the patterns, the subtle signs, the emotional traps, the gaslighting tactics, the guilt manipulation that liars use, especially when your guard is down, when you're craving love, healing, belonging. Not everyone who asks these questions is a liar. But liars often use these exact same questions because they work. In today's world, where emotional manipulation has become normalized, where guilt is used to control, where silence is used to deceive, where faith is treated like an inconvenience, we need reminders. And more than anything, we need boundaries built on truth, because Allah didn't place you on this earth to constantly be tested by people. He placed you here to be tested through them, and those tests often arrive wrapped in charm, spoken in sweet words, delivered with soft voices, and carried by the most convincing faces. So here's your reminder. You are not too suspicious for wanting to feel safe. You are not too intense for expecting honesty. You are not wrong for bringing Allah into every decision, even when they call it personal, a dua to protect your heart. May Allah protect our hearts from deception and guide us to truth even when it hurts. Type this dua below in the comments. Not just for yourself, but maybe to help someone else who desperately needs this reminder. If you want more raw, honest reminders like this, like share, subscribe, because it costs you nothing, but it might save someone else everything. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.